Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we will be talking about what narcissistic abuse looks and feels like. If you are or have been in a relationship with a narcissist, your entire reality feels warped and distorted. You have endured relentless abuse, violations, insults, manipulations, lies, ridicule, degraded, been raged at, ignored, neglected, embarrassed, cheated on, gaslit, blamed for things you never did, thrown under the bus whenever necessary, emotionally and verbally assaulted, and made to live by a phony narrative that the narcissist has made up regarding him or her, and you, your family history, the past and the present. Your sense of self has been insidiously eroded, weakened, and diminished. You were placed on a pedestal, only to be demeaned and devalued and eventually thrown off. It is possible that you were even discarded and replaced multiple times, and then drawn back into a cycle of abuse that was even more tormenting than before. Perhaps you experienced relentless stalking, harassment, and bullying in order to keep you tied to your abuser. This fake relationship was a setup for covert and insidious murder of your psyche. Yet there may not be visible scars to tell the tale. All you have are broken pieces, fractured memories, and internal battle wounds. As a result of this chronic abuse, victims may struggle with symptoms of PTSD and complex PTSD. The aftermath of narcissistic abuse can include depression, anxiety, hypervigilance, a pervasive sense of toxic shame, emotional flashbacks that regress the victim back to the abusive incidents, and overwhelming feelings of helplessness and worthlessness. Since the abuse is covert, you are not meant to notice that you are being made to do something you otherwise would not have done against your own self-interests. If you are in a toxic relationship with a narcissistic partner that disrespects, invalidates, and mistreats you, and you are not familiar with their abuse tactics and how to identify them, then the common symptoms of narcissistic abuse to look out for are the following. You feel you have to put aside your basic needs and desires, sacrifice your emotional and even your physical safety to please the abuser. In a relationship with a narcissist, you will be required to focus all your energy and your time on the narcissist and not on yourself. You may have once been full of life, goal-driven, and dream-oriented. Now you feel as if you are living just to fulfill the needs and agendas of another person. You feel exhausted and drained trying to satisfy the insatiable narcissist. You feel you are constantly walking on eggshells around your abuser. You find yourself constantly watching what you say or do around this person lest you incur their wrath or punishment. However, you find that this does not work, and you still become the abuser's target whenever he or she feels entitled to use you as an emotional punching bag. You become perpetually anxious about provoking your abuser in any way and may avoid confrontation or setting boundaries as a result. You find yourself protecting your abuser and even gaslighting yourself. Rationalizing, minimizing, and denying the abuse are often survival mechanisms for victims in an abusive relationship. You realize that your mood often depends entirely on the state of the relationship, and you are experiencing extreme highs and lows. Your joy at finding love has turned into the fear of losing it. Your feelings have moved from happiness and euphoria to anxiety, sadness, and depression. You are unhappy in the relationship and uncertain about it most of the time. Your relationship feels very complex, although you don't know why. When talking to others about it, you might find yourself saying, "It's hard to explain. It is really complicated. The relationship feels hollow. There is always a drama which must be addressed or something the other person is unhappy about that you need to fix." You crave for peace and security, but it somehow eludes you. The relationship drains you of your energy. You are unable to speak your mind. You feel stifled. You find yourself internalizing your pain and suffering in silence. You have become hypervigilant because you are not sure what may happen next. You feel as if you are always being tested. You never feel sure of where you stand with your partner, which leaves you in a perpetual state of uncertainty and anxiety. Accusations of your failures come from out of nowhere. You feel an ever-present whiff of power in this person's presence. You feel you always have to stroke this person's ego. You feel a little bad all the time, as if your gut is trying to warn you. You experience a constant feeling of deep loneliness and sorrow. You feel you are living a nightmare and experience a bone-deep, soul-crushing feeling of insecurity. You feel you are required to keep your head down and do what you are told. You continually obsess about the relationship, analyzing every detail repeatedly in a desperate attempt to figure it out. You talk about it all the time to anyone who will listen, but it doesn't help. You are frequently on the defensive. You feel misunderstood and have the need to explain and defend yourself. You seem to have developed a problem with trust, jealousy, insecurity, and overreaction in this relationship. You have become a detective. You scour the web and social media for information about your partner. You feel a need to check their web history, texts, or emails. When they are not home, you feel the need to verify their whereabouts. You feel you don't truly know how to make your partner happy. You try hard, but nothing seems to work, at least not for long. You used to make them very happy, and you are not sure what has changed. Expressing negative thoughts and emotions feels restricted or even forbidden in this relationship, so you try to keep all those things to yourself. You feel frustrated about not being able to talk about the things that are bothering you. You don't feel good about yourself anymore. You feel less confident, less secure, less intelligent, less sane, less trusting, less attractive, or in some way less than you were before. You always feel that you are falling short of your partner's expectations. You feel inadequate. You often feel guilty and find yourself apologizing a lot. You continually try to repair the damage you believe you have caused. You blame yourself for your partner pulling away from you. You carefully control your words, actions, and emotions around your partner to keep them from withdrawing their affection again. At times you erupt like an emotional volcano filled with anger, frustration, and even hostility. You have never acted this way before, but no matter how hard you try, it keeps happening. You find yourself doing things that you are not really comfortable with, or that go against your morals, values, limits, or boundaries, to make your partner happy and to keep the relationship intact. You feel your partner needs to dominate the relationship. You feel your partner does not understand your needs in the relationship. You find yourself trying to explain basic human emotions and concepts to an adult. You feel the need to make them understand. You feel your giving nature is being exploited or that you are being taken advantage of. You feel taken for granted. You feel you need them far more than they need you. You feel trapped with no clear way out. You find yourself checking with your partner and unable to trust yourself or your judgment when making decisions. You feel they have more control over your emotions and feelings than you do. You feel something bad will happen if you don't do what they want. No matter how much you do for them, they make you feel like you haven't done enough. They intimidate you with their mood or anger. You feel you can't do anything to change them. Even when you do please them, it doesn't last long. You feel you are working way harder at the relationship than they are. You self-isolate yourself. You find yourself more and more emotionally dependent on them for validation. You seem to be expected to do all the chores and housework and cooking. They want to be served. they are hypocrites. They won't apologize or accept accountability. Their actions don't match their words. The same problems come up over and over. It goes in circles. Nothing is ever resolved or forgiven in this relationship. They act differently around others than with you. It feels like they are two different people. They treat you like a child. At the beginning of the relationship, you were never apart, and you felt they were your soulmate. You feel constantly drained and exhausted in this relationship. You are trauma bonded with your abuser. Thus, in conclusion, this is what narcissistic abuse looks and feels like to a victim. If you are currently in an abusive relationship of any kind, know that you are not alone even if you feel like you are. The initial step is to acknowledge the reality of your situation and validate it, even if your abuser tries to manipulate you through gaslighting tactics, making you doubt your own perceptions. If possible, consider journaling your experiences to start acknowledging the truths of the abuse. Share these realities with a reliable mental health professional, domestic violence advocates, family members, friends, or other survivors who can provide support. Start the healing process for your body by engaging in practices like trauma-focused yoga and mindfulness meditation, as these modalities specifically target the areas of the brain that are often impacted by traumatic experiences. Leaving an abusive relationship is a difficult task because of the strong trauma bonds that can form and the overwhelming feelings of helplessness and hopelessness caused by the abuse. However, it is important to recognize that leaving the toxic relationship is indeed possible, and you can start the journey towards establishing either no contact or low contact, especially in cases involving co-parenting. Recovering from this type of abuse is a challenging process, but it is immensely valuable to pave the path towards freedom and to gradually rebuild your life. I trust that this video provided you with clear insight into what a victim of narcissistic abuse experiences in a toxic relationship. If you found this content helpful and informative, please show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. Make sure to click on the bell icon so that you do not miss out on my next video, in which I will be talking about malignant narcissism, which is characterized by a narcissistic personality disorder, antisocial features, paranoid traits, and egocentric aggression. I express my gratitude to everyone for tuning in and watching. Let us help spread the awareness and lead healthier and fulfilling lives.